Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. If an injury has to be done to a man, it should be so severe that his vengeance need not be feared. Never was anything great achieved without danger. There is no other way to guard yourself against flattery than by making men understand that telling you the truth will not offend you. The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps, and a lion to frighten wolves. The first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the people they have around them. I'm not interested in preserving the status quo. I want to overthrow it. Never attempt to win by force what can be won by deception. Men are driven by two principal impulses, either by love or by fear. Men are so simple of mind and so much dominated by their immediate needs that a deceitful man will always find plenty who are ready to be deceived. How we live is so different from how we ought to live that he who studies what ought to be done rather than what is done will learn the way to his downfall rather than to his preservation. It is not titles that honor men, but men that honor titles. Where the willingness is great, the difficulties cannot be great. Since love and fear can hardly exist together, if we must choose between them, it is far safer to be feared than loved. A man who is used to acting in one way never changes. He must come to ruin when the times in changing no longer are in harmony with his ways. Whosoever desires constant success must change his conduct with the times. The vulgar crowd always is taken by appearances, and the world consists chiefly of the vulgar. Appear as you may wish to be. There is nothing more important than appearing to be religious. A prudent man should always follow in the path trodden by great men and imitate those who are most excellent, so that if he does not attain to their greatness, at any rate, he will get some tinge of it. The promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present. ' Of mankind, we may say, in general, they are fickle, hypocritical, and greedy of gain. He who wishes to be obeyed must know how to command. Humans, in general, judge more from appearances than from reality. All men have eyes, but few have the gift of penetration. It must be considered that there is nothing more difficult to carry out, nor more doubtful of success, nor more dangerous to handle, than to initiate a new order of things. Wisdom consists of knowing how to distinguish the nature of trouble, and in choosing the lesser evil. There is no avoiding war. It can only be postponed to the advantage of your enemy. He who becomes a prince through the favor of the people should always keep on good terms with them, which it is easy for him to do, since all they ask is not to be oppressed. In conclusion, the arms of others either fall from your back, or they weigh you down, or they bind you fast. Men rarely do good unless necessity drives them to it, but when they are free to choose and can do just as they please, confusion and disorder become rampant. A prince must not have any other object, nor any other thought, but war, its institutions, its discipline, because that is the only art befitting one who commands. Everyone who wants to know what will happen ought to examine what has happened. Everything in this world in any epoch has their replicas in antiquity. It is better to act and repent than not to act and regret. For one change always leaves a dovetail into which another will fit. The new ruler must determine all the injuries that he will need to inflict. He must inflict them once and for all. My view is that it is desirable to be both loved and feared, but it is difficult to achieve both. And if one of them has to be lacking, it is much safer to be feared than loved. One should never fall into the belief that you can find someone to pick you up. Nature creates few men who are brave. Industry and training makes many. I hold strongly to this, that it is better to be impetuous than circumspect, because fortune is a woman, and if she is to be submissive, it is necessary to beat and coerce her. Men sooner forget the death of their father than the loss of their patrimony. Therefore, the best fortress is to be found in the love of the people. For although you may have a fortress, it will not save you if you are hated by the people. The fact is that a man who wants to act virtuous in every way necessarily comes to grief among so many who are not virtuous. For he who innovates will have for his enemies all those who are well off under the existing order of things, and only lukewarm supporters in those who might be better off under the new. The incredulity of mankind, who do not truly believe in anything new until they have had actual experience of it. For besides what has been said, it should be borne in mind that the temper of the multitude is fickle, and that while it is easy to persuade them of a thing, it is hard to fix them in that persuasion. He who is highly esteemed is not easily conspired against. He who causes another to become powerful ruins himself, for he brings such a power into being either by design or by force, and both of these elements are suspect to the one whom he has made powerful. Men should be either treated generously or destroyed, because they take revenge for slight injuries. For heavy ones they cannot. For whoever believes that great advancement and new benefits make men forget old injuries is mistaken. Hence it comes that all armed prophets have been victorious, and all unarmed prophets have been destroyed. God creates men, but they choose each other. And yet, we cannot define as skillful killing one's fellow citizens, betraying one's friends, and showing no loyalty, mercy, or moral obligation. These means can lead to power, but not to glory. Occasionally, words must serve to veil the facts, but let this happen in such a way that no one become aware of it, or, if it should be noticed, excuses must be at hand to be produced immediately. But when you disarm them, you at once offend them by showing them that you distrust them, either for cowardice or for want of loyalty, and either of these opinions breeds hatred against you. Men intrinsically do not trust new things that they have not experienced for themselves. Though fraud in all other actions be odious, yet in matters of war it is laudable and glorious. You ought never to suffer your designs to be crossed in order to avoid war, since war is not so to be avoided, but is only deferred to your disadvantage. And he who overcomes his enemies by stratagem is as much to be praised as he who overcomes them by force. A return to first principles in a republic is sometimes caused by the simple virtues of one man. His good example has such an influence that the good men strive to imitate him, and the wicked are ashamed to lead a life so contrary to his example. The distinction between children and adults, while probably useful for some purposes, is at bottom a specious one. I feel there are only individual egos, crazy for love.